Hello Cloud Gurus, and in this lesson I'm going to detail the setup required for Windows 10 for use with this course. I'm going to detail how to install all of the software applications, modules and other prerequisites needed to complete all of the demo lessons throughout the course. So the first thing we're going to do is open a web browser and open our AWS console. Okay, so this is the AWS console, and we'll sign in by clicking on AWS Management Console here. And we'll need to enter our username and password that we created in an earlier lesson. So ddb admin, our password, and we'll be prompted for our MFA code. So enter this now. And I'm going to ask that you go to the CloudFormation console, and the reason will become clear any second. And specifically highlight the low admin stack and click on Outputs. And this will show an access key ID and a secret access key, and we'll need both of those shortly when we configure the AWS CLI tools. So the next thing we're going to do is go to the Python website. So type in Python 2.7 into the browser, and choose the Python 2.7 release on python.org and download Python 2.7.12 or whatever the closest 2.7.x release is. And this will take a few seconds to download, so we'll pause the video and resume when it's complete. So go ahead and run this, and this will start the install program. So we need to select install for all users and click on next. We can choose the default location, click on next again. And we just need to make sure that all of these are ticked, including the add python.exe to path at the bottom. So we'll select that and put will be installed on local hard drive and click on next. Accept any prompts, and this will begin the install program. So I'm going to pause the video and resume once it's complete, as this may take a few moments. Okay, so this is completed. So we'll click on finish. Now what we want to check is clicking on the Windows button and opening a command prompt. We need to see if Python's actually installed and in our path. In this case it's not. In order to make this quick, I'm going to log out of Windows and back in. And we'll try that again. And this time we should see that Python's in our path. So we'll open up a command prompt and we'll try running Python -- version. And we can see that Python is installed. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to run pip install Boto3, and that's going to install the Python SDK, which we're going to use to interact with AWS throughout this course on a Windows machine. So go ahead and run that, and that will download and install the Boto3 set of libraries. And again, this may take a couple of seconds, so I'll resume the video once complete. And we'll use pip this time also to install the AWS CLI tools, and we'll do that with this command, pip install AWS CLI. And if we go ahead and test whether the AWS CLI is installed, we may need to log out and back in again to add it to the path, but we'll check that now. So AWS -- version. And we can see that it actually is installed and working, so that's good. So we'll clear the screen again. Okay, so far we've installed Python 2.7. We've used pip that's included with Python, and we've installed Boto3, which is the AWS SDK. And we've also used pip to install the AWS command line tools. So now we're going to go ahead and install a couple of Python modules that are used during the scripts within the demo lessons of this course. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to install is TQDM, which is a progress bar module for Python. And this is useful to be able to show the speed and completion times for various operations during the demo lessons of this course. And we'll be using this extensively during the performance and scaling demonstrations. So let's go ahead and install that. So we do a pip install TQDM, we press enter, and the process will be much the same. It'll go ahead and either install it or confirm that it's already installed. The next module is a module called fake-factory, and fake-factory is used to generate fake user data, and we'll be using this for each of the data models during the course. So you'll see that we've generated thousands of records for students and teachers, and the scripts that generate that data make use of the services provided by fake-factory in order to generate that data. So let's go ahead and install that now. So we do a pip install fake-factory. So that's fake-factory installed. So let's go ahead and clear the screen one last time. So the last module we're going to install is a module called multiprocessing. And multiprocessing adds multi-threaded capabilities to Python. Now we're going to have a couple of lessons that make use of multi-threading in order to demonstrate performance tuning within Python for AWS. So we're going to go ahead and install that now. So that's a pip install multiprocessing. Now before we run this command, it is possible that there may be some prerequisites that need to be installed in order to install the module. So let's go ahead and run that now. So you'll see we get an error message. And the reason we're getting an error message, as we can see by this line, is that Microsoft Visual C++ 9 is required in order to compile some of the elements of the module. And it gives us a handy URL to download this software from. So if we go ahead and copy this and paste it into our browser, and we click on the download button. Now this will take a few minutes to finish downloading, so we'll allow that to finish. Once it finishes, we'll run the application, we'll let it install Visual C++ for Python, and then we'll give it another try. So we'll click on Run, accept the license agreement, we'll allow it to finish the install, so it will install some files. So now that's complete, we can go back to our command prompt, and we can try rerunning the command to install multiprocessing, and this time it's successfully installed. So we can go ahead and clear the screen. So the last install we have to do is a text editor. And we're going to install the Atom text editor. So Google for Atom editor. And it's usually the first link, atom.io. So we click on there. And this text editor is just an editor which includes code-specific syntactical highlighting, as we can see on the screen there. So it just makes it easier to understand how code's structured and which bit does what, and it will help me take you through any of the code examples we use and just make them a little bit easier to understand. So we're going to go ahead and download the installer, and this will take a few minutes, so I'm going to pause the video and skip ahead, and once I do, we can click on Run to complete the install. So I'm going to go ahead and click Run. This will start the install program for Atom, which may take a couple of minutes. And now this is finished, you'll see the Atom editor is loaded up, and we can go ahead and close these additional tabs, and then close the application, so that's installed successfully. So I can close this tab and the Visual Studio tab. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to configure the AWS command line tools with a profile, and this profile is called low admin. And the low admin profile will be used and expected to exist for all of the demo lessons within this course. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we'll run AWS configure, but on the end of this we'll do a # profile low admin, and this will direct the command line tools to configure the low admin profile. So we're going to be asked for a number of details. The first one is the access key ID for this profile. And we're going to get that from CloudFormation from the low admin stack. So if we click on it and select outputs, you'll see here that we've got an access key ID and a secret access key. So let's get the access key ID first. So copy that and paste it into the command prompt. And then do the same for the secret access key. So go ahead and select that, paste this in, and then you'll be asked for a default region name. Now, if you remember earlier in the course, I directed you to select a region name that you're going to use as the default. Now, I've already said that I'm going to pick North Virginia. Now, the region code for North Virginia is US East 1, and each region in this list has its own region code. Now on your screen at the moment is a link to follow which will list the region codes for each of these regions. So you need to go and find the one for your region now, and once you've found it, you can enter it into the command prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and use US East-1, which is the code for North Virginia. Now you need to pick the one that's correct for you. This is really important, and it will impact how the lessons work further in the course if you get this incorrect. So make sure you get the right region code for your region, and don't just enter US East 1 unless you're also using North Virginia. So go ahead and press enter, and you'll be asked for a default output format, and if you could just put JSON here and press enter, it will just mean that your results are consistent with the ones that you see in the demos, and it will just make everything a lot easier further in the course. So go ahead and press enter. And now we can clear the screen. And a really easy way to test whether this is working is to run an AWS S3 LS. and then / profile low admin. And what you should see from this command is a list of any S3 buckets within your AWS account. Now, if this is a new AWS account, you'll probably only see one bucket here, and that's the bucket that's used by CloudFormation to upload the templates that you've used so far. And those templates are obviously the low admin template and the lab machine template. So let's go ahead and press enter, and we can see one bucket, which is CF templates and then code and then US-EASE-1. And that's the bucket that CloudFormation created for me when I uploaded my CloudFormation templates. So we have two more things to do before we're ready to complete this lesson. The first is that I want you to download the lesson files for this course. So in order to do that, we're going to go to GitHub and we're going to use this URL, and I'll make sure that this URL is displayed on your screen to make it nice and easy. So the first thing is to open this. I want you to click on clone or download, and I want you to download zip. And once that's finished downloading, I want you to open an Explorer window, go to downloads, select this file, right click on it and put extract all. And if you just extract it, it'll go ahead and do that. And once it's finished, we'll have a folder which contains all of the lesson files for this course. Now, the one that I'm particularly interested in at this point is the retry.json file here, and it'll become clear in a second why. So I want you to open a command prompt again, and I want you to type cd and just press enter, and that will make sure you're in your home folder. So now we're going to go cd.aws, and this is going to take us to a hidden AWS folder. And in this folder, it's where all of the configuration files are stored for AWS. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a folder, and we're going to call it model. And then we're going to go into that folder. Then I'm going to go ahead and put copy c:\users training1, and you'll need to replace training1 with your local Windows username here. And then I'm going to put downloads, and then a Cloud Guru DynamoDB master, which is the folder that the extract zip created. And then in there, because it's Windows, there's another folder called the same name. And then I'm going to select 01, configuring your AWS account, which is this lesson, and then the retry.json file. And I'm going to copy that to here, and that's represented by a period, and that's copied one file in here. And that's these steps complete. So we've downloaded the lesson files for the course, and out of the specific folder for this lesson, we've copied a retry.json file which adjusts the behavior for the AWS CLI tools and the Boto 3 SDK, and we've copied it into the hidden folder .aws model inside of your home directory. Well, that's the end of this lesson, Cloud Gurus, and we've successfully configured Windows 10 to use for the remainder of this course. We've installed Python 2.7, we've installed Boto 3, which is the Python SDK for AWS. We've installed and configured the AWS command line tools, and we've installed a number of Python libraries that we'll be using during scripts in the remainder of this course. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out directly or via the Cloud Guru forums. Otherwise, go ahead and complete this lesson and move on to the next.